And good morning. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. It is Thursday. That means it's time for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Every week we work with Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County. We feature 3 fugitives who could be on the run or are on the run, and they could be in Cuyahoga County. This is going to be your chance to clean up our streets, get them off the street and in front of a judge where they belong, and possibly get a reward of up to $5,000 at the same time, as we always do. Let's welcome in Detective Red Dyer from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Detective, how are you today?
Good, Dan. Good to be with you.
It's great to have you back, Red. Let's get to our first suspect here, our first fugitive, Ivan Santana. And again, we find another individual that has an alias that's pretty common here on Most Wanted. What do we know?
Well, Dan, we know that Ivan Santana may also be going by Ivan Abdiel Santana. In April this year, Mr. Santana pled guilty to aggravated vehicular assault as well as driving under the influence. The indictment actually states the victim suffered serious physical harm as a result of this assault. The indictment also states that he had a .357 Magnum revolver in his possession during this incident. So we're talking a very dangerous situation, Dan. Mr. Santana also has a warrant with the ATF, or the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, for engaging in the business of dealing firearms without a license as part of a 3-month summer violent crime reduction effort in Cleveland. He appears to have which we've seen in the past, a great horned owl tattooed on his neck. He's approximately 5'7" and 150 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 3300 block of Tampa Avenue in Cleveland.
Red, I've done some research because I think this may be our 3rd, 4th, or 5th individual that's had an owl tattoo. Can't seem to find any significance other than the owl is supposedly a symbol of wisdom. A lot of wisdom in some of our fugitives that are featured here. Let's get to our next case, Lorente Collins. What do we know?
Well, Dan, we know that this stems from an incident that was alleged to have occurred in May of this year. Reports state that Mr. Collins strangled the victim with both hands and punched them in the face several times. He was placed on a GPS monitor, but he has since cut it off, and it was recovered in an open field by our electronic monitoring unit. A warrant was issued for his arrest because of this. He's approximately 5'11" and 163 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 1400 block of East Boulevard in the city of Cleveland. And as we've stated in the past, Dan, people who cut off their monitors do not want to be found.
Yeah, we got to find some way, not putting this on you guys, but as a society, we've got to find a better way to make those GPS monitors to where they can't be so easily cut off. But of course, they can face even more serious charges after doing so. So let's hope Mr. Collins is found soon. Let's get to our 3rd and final fugitive, Quan Hamill. What do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know about Mr. Hamill is he's actually wanted on 3 felony warrants with Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. And I know our community hates to see violence against animals, but in one case, reports state that the victim heard multiple gunshots, came outside of their home to find their dog had been shot twice. Police also collected 12 shell casings from near the scene. He's also wanted on another case that alleges illegal use of a firearm. And in his 3rd case, it's alleged he was in possession of a Hyundai Sonata that had been reported stolen. He's approximately 5'8" and 190 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 2200 block of East 103rd Street in Cleveland.
Red, we know our viewers, we know just about everybody so passionate about animals, and when we hear of a dog allegedly being shot multiple times, perhaps that's what it takes to have somebody pick up the phone and call in on Mr. Hamill. He could be hiding out. They may know where he lives. They may know where he works under the table, gets paid under the table, so that he's off the books and out of the system. But an individual that has no heart and can shoot a dog, allegedly shoot a dog at least twice, even though 12 rounds were fired, you have to ask yourself some serious questions about what kind of person Mr. Hamill is. Red, let's start talking about the process of calling in to Crime Stoppers. A lot of people say, well, geez, I don't want my name on anything. When he goes to court, when one of our fugitives gets caught and they say, how did you catch me? People just don't want their name associated with anything. That's why Crime Stoppers is such an important tool, not only in Cuyahoga County. We know Crime Stoppers is nationwide. Walk us through, when somebody calls Crime Stoppers, why is their identity completely protected?
Well, Dan, their identity is completely protected because we don't have caller ID. We don't take down any of your personal information. We don't record any of the phone calls. As we've referenced in the past weeks, everything is referenced through an anonymous tip number. So none of your information is ever exchanged with us.
And that means that when court records, when documents go before the court, when the judge, when the public defender, when the public prosecutor, when the prosecutor is looking at the information, your name will not appear anywhere. You call that number 216-25-CRIME or 216-252-7463. You get that anonymous tip number that Red was referring to. That way you call in 45 days later, you say, here's my tip number. Was it my tip that led to the capture of Collins or Hamill? And if it was, you could be eligible for up to a $5,000 reward. Detective Dyer, why do we like people? I'm going to start that over. Detective Dyer, what do we like people to know when we start talking about a reward?
We like them to know that crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
Absolutely it does. Up to a $5,000 reward. Detective Dyer, Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department, as well as Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County, we certainly appreciate this partnership. We know this works, folks. We know you might be watching this on social media. Click that share button. That way somebody in your news feed may be going through this, may see one of our fugitives' mugshots and say, I know that guy. I know where he's hiding out. He's up to no good in my neighborhood. You can help clean up Cuyahoga County by calling that number and getting them turned in. Red, it was a pleasure having you this week as always. We appreciate it.
The pleasure was all mine.
All right, Red, take care. We know this program works. Some of the latest numbers we have, about 58% capture rate, meaning 58% of the people we feature on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted end up back behind bars in some way, shape, or form. If we have any other breaking news, we'll bring it to you here on our digital properties. Our 11 o'clock news just 20 minutes away on CW43. Then, of course, our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media.